I'm Allie. I'm a content manager on our public relations team. I've been at EMA for about 5.5 years now.
And I'm Lauren Dixon. I work closely with Allie on our activation PR team. Today's discussion, we're going to talk through some of the top platforms that brands are using for social media. We're going to highlight a couple of the up-and-comers, the new trendy things that people are doing. And then we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into some brands that we think are doing really well on social media from our brand as friend perspective.
The great marketer Seth Godin said that people do not buy goods and services, they buy relations, stories, and magic. And I love this quote because I really think that it embodies all of the power that social media has for companies, for brands, for organizations. That you really can bring your story to life. Every brand, every company has a story, has a philosophy, has a history. And social media can really be a platform for you to bring that brand and personality to life in a really unique way that's going to resonate with your target audience. People love to share. In fact, you'll probably know that people like to overshare. It's somewhat too much on social media. They like to engage. They like to talk about things that they care about, things that are important. People like to talk about themselves. Social media provides a vehicle for them to do that. It also is a huge opportunity for companies to become part of that conversation that's already happening and also start a conversation. People want to connect. Social media is all about connection.
So in initial conversations with a company or an organization that wants a social media strategy, the first question we always ask is why? Why do you want to be on Facebook? Why do you want to be on Instagram? Who are you trying to reach and what's your business goal? And the reason we do this is because the platforms are so different and people use them in different ways. For example, what you post on Facebook and what you want to share on Facebook or what you want to receive on Facebook from brands might be really different from what you're posting on LinkedIn per se. So this is always our starting point to say, who is your audience? Why do you want to connect with them? And then figure out the channel strategy from there.
Right now, I don't know if Lauren, you mentioned that, but these are the top 5 social platforms in the US. So we're going to take a look at kind of the overall social landscape and then talk about some rising stars.
But first, the landscape at a glance. 78% of the US population has a social media profile. That's probably no surprise. Most everyone raised their hands here. It's the top online activity, and people are spending almost 2 hours a day on social media. That is a huge opportunity. So you have close to 2 hours a day to connect with your consumer in a place that they already want to be, engage them, connect them, build brand affinity. 75% of smartphone owners reported using their phone for social media. So this is kind of representative of a really huge shift in media consumption habits. People, where they used to be going to TV or newspaper or radio for their news, now they're getting it on the go on their phone. People are learning news on Twitter, on Facebook. People are using it to get advice from people, to learn more about a topic, to engage with people. So it's really represented this big shift of how brands and companies are spending their marketing dollars to reach people where they are and where they want to talk to you.
This mobile trend is definitely something to watch because if anything, it's only going to continue to increase. The mobile is going to completely overtake the desktop. So it's something as marketers to really think about when you're putting together a content strategy. So YouTube is one of the top 2 biggest social networks in the entire world. People in this room, you might be thinking, is YouTube really a social network? Like, I just thought it was a place where people went and uploaded videos and watched video. It really is more than that. Brands can really create channels where they can upload multimedia content. People can comment on videos. They can kind of connect around shared interests. So there's really a huge opportunity when you might not think of YouTube as the social media channel of preference. There are 1.3 billion active users using YouTube right now. That is almost 1/3 of the entire US digital population, which is a crazy statistic to think about. There's 5 billion videos watched every single day. There's an opportunity there. I mean, if some people here might be in control of your marketing budget and think, I've got to be advertising on large cable networks, I've got to be running TV ads, that can be very expensive. YouTube is a great opportunity to promote a message at a much more cost-effective way. YouTube on mobile alone reaches more 18 to 34 and more 18 to 49-year-olds than any cable network in the entire United States. So that's a really important statistic to take away when you're thinking about marketing. All the top 100 global brands actually ran TrueView ads over the past year. TrueView is the ad format that YouTube uses. So if you ever go watch a video on YouTube and you see that annoying video that usually plays before the actual video you're trying to watch and says skip in 5 seconds, that's TrueView. And oftentimes you only pay if a consumer actually watches the whole video. So something to really think about in the shift of media consumption.
So the first platform you probably think of when you think social media is Facebook, with nearly 1 billion daily active users. Some marketers recently have said that Facebook's kind of losing its relevance. They're saying the younger generation is kind of sick of it, they're over it, their parents are on it, so they're done. But actually, 82% of online users between 18 and 29 use Facebook. So that number's still astronomical. It's too big to ignore. Also, 48% of people that are online, 65 and older, also use Facebook. So different from some of the other social platforms that skew younger, this is really a platform where you can reach all ages and reach an older market. Close to 50% of consumers like a Facebook page to support a brand they like, but this is kind of interesting. 40% of consumers don't like brands at all. And that kind of tells us two important things. The first being that it's so critical now to create authentic, honest, engaging content. We know it's true for millennials that they don't like being advertised to. So this is such a big thing. And the Facebook algorithm has actually changed so that unless your post is engaging, it's not going to serve it up to people in the newsfeed. So if you're wondering how many people are actually seeing this post, it's actually when you get more likes, comments, shares, engagements, that boosts it in the newsfeed so more people see it. So that just goes back to how critical it is to have a good, solid content strategy. Another thing that this says is brands are shifting towards a paid model. And a lot of people are saying like, oh, do I have to pay to promote these posts? Is that the only way people are gonna see it? It is serving it up, obviously, to more people when you pay for it. So a lot of brands are starting to put a few paid dollars behind it, and it doesn't have to be a big investment, but that's also something to keep in mind.
So that little logo at the top, if you're not familiar, that's Instagram. And it might look a little bit different because Instagram literally within the last couple weeks changed their logo to look like that. Instagram has grown astronomically over the course of the last year. They actually have more active users than Twitter. They have 400 million monthly active users. Instagram tends to skew a little bit more female. I don't know if it's just because we like to stalk people's photos or what, but it tends to be a little bit more female of an audience. It also tends to skew more millennial, which might not come as a surprise to many people in the room, but 55% of online users 18 to 29 are using Instagram. And another important thing to note that you might not be as familiar with if you're not running a lot of social media ads, Instagram used to be very, very expensive platform to advertise on, almost 6 figures to run an ad, which for many companies just is not even feasible. Now, Facebook actually purchased Instagram, so you can run an Instagram ad through Facebook. It will run on Instagram, and you can do it at a much more cost-effective rate. You can do it for $20 if you want.
So as Ali said, Instagram's actually surpassed Twitter, but Twitter still has roughly over 300 million users. So as Instagram skewed a little more female, you'll see Twitter skews a little bit more male, but still pretty even. Something interesting is that 78% of people who complain to a brand expect a response within an hour. People have gotten trained really badly on social media, but they've been using this as kind of the ultimate customer service platform. People know now that if they tweet at a brand, they're gonna get a faster response than if they pick up a phone and call an 800 number. Plus, when brands respond to people on social media, everyone can see it. So they might try to be a little nicer, do a little more than they would then over the phone. So consumers have actually gotten trained to go to social media for customer service problems before they would even call a department.
There's actually kind of a crazy stat we saw that 96% of people that talk about brands don't actually follow them. So that's really interesting, and that might actually have something to do with it, because the first place you go when you're upset with a company or a product oftentimes is social media, because the way the trend's starting to go is that you will get a response versus picking up a phone, calling a 1-800 number and talking to no one.
Also, 34% of marketers use Twitter to successfully generate leads. That could be driving people to your website to learn more about your company, to a product page to purchase an item, or even to download a white paper or a thought leadership piece. It's also important to note that this is a huge influencer platform. Everyone from politicians to activists to musicians and celebrities are using Twitter to comment about current events and weigh in. Before Twitter, there was never that type of platform where people could converse with brands and influencers and celebrities and politicians so freely like that.
So we mentioned earlier wanted to cover some rising star platforms. This is Snapchat. Snapchat is not currently in the top 10 social media channels in the US, but I'm no psychic, but if I were to predict, I would say that it's heading that way. It has 100 million daily active users. That's more than 7 billion daily video views, which is crazy. Much like Instagram, Snapchat tends to skew a little bit more female, actually a lot more female. And again, a lot younger of a demographic is using this channel. And that might be because a younger audience tends to be more of an early adopter, maybe more willing to try a new social network. But you can see that with 22% of ad execs planning to advertise on Snapchat in the coming year, it's becoming more of an established social network that we can't ignore. We work with a lot of beer brands. Right now, Snapchat does not allow you to age gate, so there hasn't been as much opportunity to do a lot with Snapchat, but we know that that's going to change in the next coming months, so we're going to start to see a lot of different things happening with this platform, so it's something to pay attention to.
So now we're going to dive into a couple brands that we think are killing it on social media. This is through our brand as friend philosophy. First, Nielsen says that 70% of consumers will trust the opinion of a total stranger, but only 25% or less trust advertising. So what does that mean? A company can truly gain a competitive advantage if it can really build trust and ultimately a friendship with their customers on social media.
So insert brand as friend. Brand as friend is EMA's company philosophy that we really use when we approach marketing for brands. It's based on the 9 proven key drivers of friendship that fall within the pillars of affection, relevance, and trust. When a brand becomes more than something you buy and something that you really connect with, a very powerful connection happens that can really positively impact your business growth. So when we approach marketing for our brands, we think about these drivers. Under affection, you have caring, listening, and surprise. Relevance involves story, style, and connecting. And trust is honesty, advising, and loyalty. So we're going to walk through some brands that we think are utilizing social media very well through the lens of these drivers. So REI, pretty familiar with the brand REI here? No. REI is an outdoor company. They really encourage everyone to celebrate every minute outside. That's their overall, to the core of their brand. They're an outdoor company. And they do a really good job of basically selling their customer stories on social media. So their setup is a little bit different. They are a cooperative, which means that members of your company can actually pay $20 to become part of the cooperative, which means when the company benefits, so do the members of the company. So REI actually did a really great job of selling the story of Paul Evans. Paul Evans was an avid hiker who unfortunately tragically died when he was 53 years old, and he never got to really fulfill his dream of hiking the Appalachian Trail. So Paul's wife sent a note to REI basically explaining Paul's story, and REI just fell in love with the story. And they used social media as a platform to really share his story with the world. And hikers from all across the map came together and said, you know what, we're gonna fulfill his mission of climbing the Appalachian Trail. And they took Paul's boots and they basically took the boots across the Appalachian Trail. So all of these hikers hiked different portions. It makes you wanna cry because it's such a touching story. But it was done in such an authentic way that it just really, it's just core to the brand, and it really built so many brand loyalists for REI. They also created what's called the REI 1440 project. Basically, there are 1,440 minutes in every single day, and REI encourages everyone to get outside and celebrate every minute of every single day outdoors. And they do it in a really, really compelling way on social media, and they encourage everyone to share their story. So the brand's not only telling its story about being outdoors and celebrating the outdoors, but it's telling the stories of its customers in a really, really authentic way that is building brand loyalists.
So friends have a unique style and personality. So the same kind of holds true for brands. A friendship really happens when personalities kind of agree with each other, they're compatible, they mesh, and it's really just as essential for a marketer to develop a personality for the brand in order to form that kind of bond with a brand and a consumer. So you might have heard of Lowe's Fix in 6 campaign, and basically this is a series of short 6-second videos that they did on the social media platform Vine. And the goal behind it was to reach the next generation of homeowners, so millennials. And they wanted to reach them in a way that was very lighthearted and helpful, and they developed this whole persona on social media. And they wanted to take the stress out of like a DIY project and show like this could be fun, it's easy, we're here to help. And it's really, really worked for them. Last year, their stock was up 65% from 2 years before. And they also got a lot of great feedback on their social media. The younger generation was saying that calling them a style brand, which was huge for them, especially on Pinterest, where it's kind of all about style and inspiration. And their competition, it's kind of cool to note that they were all just very product focused and transactional, whereas they had created this whole persona for themselves. So by having a unique style and personality, you can kind of set yourself apart from competitors, and this translated to actual business success for them.
So friends are honest with each other. All friendships are based on honesty. Friends are not supposed to be deceptive. They're not supposed to lie. It's all supposed to be based on trust. The same way that friends need to be honest with one another, brands need to be honest with their consumers. And nothing really screams honesty than coming out and basically saying, my pizza sucks. We know our product is terrible. And that's exactly what Domino's did with the Our Pizza Sucks campaign. And they really took to social media. It first started with using social media as a listening tool. They listened to what their customers were saying. It was, your product is awful, your sauce is bad, your crust is bad, we don't like the cheese, we don't like anything about your pizza. So they took that and said, all right, well, our pizza's bad, so we gotta do something about that. So they turned to YouTube and they created short videos that basically showed focus groups that the brand was having with their actual customers who came and said, yeah, these are all the things that are wrong. And they listened to what their customers had to say, and they took to social media to promote what they were going to do to fix it. And they did fix it. They changed their entire recipe, all the ingredients that went into their pizza, and it's had a really great response. Their stock plummeted, it's now back up, and they've really built a lot of brand loyalists out of it. So being transparent, you don't need to have a huge budget. I mean, Domino's was able to put pizza trackers in all of its stores where you can actually go online and see your pizza being made as a response to pizza sucks. We're gonna show how transparent we are. We're gonna put cameras in there so you can see how we're making our pizza. So you don't necessarily need to go put cameras and everything to show how you can be transparent. All companies, all organizations can be transparent on social media.
So friends are caring, they're compassionate, they care about other people more than just themselves, and the same should hold true for brands. And people really feel affection towards brands that care more about their bottom line and really show that they care about their employees, their customers, their communities that they live in. Pedigree wanted to show that it cared about the 4 million dogs that enter shelters and rescue centers every single year. Almost half those dogs never find homes. So Pedigree wanted to kind of reverse that trend, and they started the Pedigree Feeding Project. And what that was kind of a social media call to action where they would donate money and food to shelters so that they could focus resources on helping dogs find homes. So they asked people on Facebook to nominate their communities throughout the country that they thought could really benefit from this project. So they kind of crowdsourced all these people's nominations and moved forward with this project. They enlisted Miranda Lambert as a celebrity spokesperson, and she did some press tours and she did a Twitter chat with people on Twitter. They also asked bloggers to post about it as well, and they encouraged people to share their own dog adoption stories. So they really had this overwhelming community of dog lovers that came in and like really supported this campaign. And at the end of the campaign, they had 15,000 dogs adopted, and they donated over $500,000 to shelters. But it just kind of showed the compassionate part of this brand that really was relevant to its consumer.
So friends listen. Can you imagine what type of friendship it would be if your friends, you just talked at one another? You didn't actually listen. It would show that you didn't really value the thoughts and opinions and ideas that your friend had to offer. Same as how we need to listen to what our friends have to say. brands need to listen to what their customers have to say. Domino's was a great example, also could have gone here, of a company that's really listening and changing based on what their consumers have to say. JetBlue is another company that, in terms of customer service on social media, is by far owning the game. You might think, so they get 1,500 Twitter mentions a day on average. That's a lot. And their response time is under 10 minutes. That's very, very fast. You might think JetBlue's got to have 500 people doing that, because how on earth do they manage all of the people that are talking about them every minute of every day? Actually, no. They have an army of 25 stay-at-home moms that are powering their social media platform, which is kind of crazy to think about. They have a very strong customer service program. They respond in a creative and witty way, but they make sure to try to find a solution for all of their customers' issues. On Facebook, they try to keep their response time to under 2 hours, and Twitter is even much quicker than that. So you can just see here. So by showing good customer service, giving a confirmation code to get a credit for a TV that didn't work during a flight, little things like that show a customer that you're listening, that they matter, and it goes a really, really long way.
So friends give advice. Throughout our lives, we always turn to friends for advice on things, and a lot of times even turn to social media for what restaurant to go to or what cell phone to buy, or even more complex issues. It really provides a brand an opportunity to be a trusted advisor. You want someone to go to you and ask for advice. It really allows you to kind of shape the discussion and their views on something when you prove that you have a consumer's best interest in mind. So an example of that is Birchbox. Birchbox has actually created a social media mecca of sorts on their platforms for people to come to them to watch tutorials and get beauty advice, and they have a very approachable, like, no judgment zone. If someone can go and say, I've never worn makeup, please show me what to do. They actually go above and beyond. They respond to every single consumer inquiry about products or what they should do, and they give personalized advice based on your skin tone, your hair texture, your personal style. So instead of just giving this cookie cutter advice, they actually respond to everybody. They also use employees in all their videos, and this is really a call for authenticity, because people want to see regular people that look just like them. So if this person looks like me, maybe I'll try their beauty routine. And that's a really cool thing that they do. And that's something that you can do at any size or scale as an organization. If you're responding to inquiries, comments, concerns, even responding to compliments, saying, thank you, this means so much to me, that can really go a long way with your consumers.
Yeah, it's back to creating a personality and kind of giving a face to your company. You're not just trying to sell a product. You're really trying to build a connection with the consumer. Another place where friends connect you with other friends. I know that I certainly have made a lot of friends in my life because a friend of mine has introduced me to somebody else. I'm sure a lot of people in this room can probably attest to that as well. Brands do the same thing. They can connect people. It's almost like an unspoken endorsement. If I trust that my friend is a good judge of character, so I would be friends with a person that my friend suggests I'd be friends with. Same with brands. I mean, that's why brands have to be very strategic in who that they partner with in a brand-to-brand partnership. But they also have the opportunity to connect customers. And a great way to do that is through social media. Lululemon, I think, is a pioneer. They're really connecting people very well around the shared passion of working out, yoga, running. One particular event that they host in their hometown of Vancouver is the Seawees Half Marathon. I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with it, but when you sign up, you get a pair of Lululemon shorts. And actually, the design on the shorts incorporates the actual race course, which is kind of neat. And they have sort of a social media frenzy that happens when people get the shorts, because everyone opens them, they post them on social media. Again, a great way to overshare, tell everyone that you're running a half marathon, because everyone does not care, but you need to tell them that. But it's a great way for them to talk about it, build some brand love. And then the conversation switches and it goes from an online community to an offline community when they actually attend the event. And it really is a symbol of we love Lululemon. It's all about brand love. Everyone wears the shorts. The shorts almost become a symbol of this special tribe that you're a part of. So Lululemon's doing a phenomenal job of creating community. More connections are stronger than when a brand just builds a bridge to a consumer. Lots of connections are much stronger than just that.
So friends pleasantly surprise you. You guys might have heard of the strategy called surprise and delight. That is a big strategy or tactic that brands are using now to kind of freshen up their brand and get consumers and prospects interested and engaged with them. MasterCard did this with their Priceless campaign, which has been really iconic for the brand over the years, but they wanted to like freshen it up and kind of go through an evolution with the brand. So they decided that instead of just celebrating people's moments in life, they wanted to surprise them with these incredible experiences. So what they did was surprise people with little to big things, whether it was a free Uber ride or a free song download, or one of the bigger things was Justin Timberlake showing up at your doorstep. All you had to do was be a MasterCard user that used your card, and then either tweet or post on Instagram with the hashtag Priceless Surprises. And the idea behind it was that people love to share when they're surprised or delighted or overjoyed, and they knew that when people got anything little to big, whether it was a cupcake or Justin Timberlake at your door, you'll share it with your friends and your family on social media. And the hope behind it is that all of these kind of small ways of pleasing your customers are going to add up in the long run and really create that brand loyalty. So this is another thing that you can do, big or small. It doesn't have to be Justin Timberlake. Starbucks gives out a free coffee on your birthday. So that's just an example of a $4 to $5 way of making someone feel really, really special.
And friends are loyal. Loyalty is really the foundation of so many friendships. We trust that our friends are going to be loyal, that they're going to have our back, they're going to be there for us. The same way that friends are loyal to us, brands need to be loyal to their customers in order to build customer loyalty in return. Southwest does a really great job. They just came out with their entire transparency campaign, hashtag fees don't fly. And they're all seeing that all of these other airlines are really charging for every little thing, to check a bag, every little extra fee that they can get out of a consumer, they're doing. So Southwest took to social media and saw that there are a lot of consumers out there that don't like these extra fees. And so when these passengers flew other airlines, Southwest, and they went and took to Twitter and complained and said, yeah, all these extra fees are not cool. Southwest responded and said, yep, we agree with you. Here's a Visa gift card. We're going to pay for those extra fees that you had to endure. So these are consumers that are flying other airlines. They're not even flying Southwest. And Southwest is going out there and paying for all of the issues that they had to deal with. I mean, that's loyalty, and that's a great way. And you can bet that Drew over there probably went and told all of his friends that Southwest did that. So it's a great way to spark conversation, social buzz, really build those brand advocates that are going to do the advocating for you. You know, the brand doesn't even need to do it because those consumers are going to do it for them.
So a lot of the brands that we covered are these really big brands, and you might still be like, oh, I kind of know how it would translate to me, but I'm not super sure. We want to talk about a brand that's kind of killing it close to home. As Labatt's social agency of record, we are doing a current PR and social initiative with them that's really on a smaller budget. These are the limited edition Zubaz cans. I don't know if anyone's seen them, but they're pretty awesome. Yeah. So Labatt came out with these as a way to excite football fans and beer drinkers for the upcoming beer season. So each of the cans has the core, and their core markets represents the team colors in each of their markets. So our social approach here was to launch these cans on social media on day one of draft day. So we know social chatter is already going to be really high. People are excited for the upcoming football season. They're jazzed. And we know that they're going to be paying attention. So we posted a GIF, which is actually just like a quick little video. And these Buffalo-centric markets cans on the right, we posted them on all of Labatt's channels. We did it on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. And then we also put some paid support behind it in all of their core markets. We also did PR outreach in tandem. So we reached out to outlets and people that we knew would be influential to Labatt's target market. So we reached out to people at Bro Bible, at Barstool Sports, at Bleacher Report, and we sent them these cans right as it was hitting. Like, we actually had it set up as emails and posts on Facebook, and we hit them at the same time. So the result was really awesome. We got a lot of social chatter. We got thousands of social impressions.
The last thing we want to cover, which is just some trends that we see for 2016, and then we'll open it up into more of a discussion and any questions that anyone has. So we actually mentioned this before. There was that large statistic we had in the beginning about over 70% of smartphone users accessing social media channels through their phone. Mobile will completely dominate desktop, where it's likely that this is going to happen. So that should, as marketers, we should really think about and can influence our content strategy and how we're promoting specific messages, how we're targeting people. In the moment updates will increase. This is all about real time. People want information right away. They want it when they want it, and they can get it right away. So it's very, very important as companies, as organizations, that we stay relevant by responding in real time. Wearable technology will pave a new ground. The Apple iWatch launched last year. You can wear a Fitbit now and actually get your text messages right on the watch. I mean, it's crazy how much you can have just by wearing it. You can get social media updates. So I think we'll see that wearable technology will continue to pave a new road. Staying relevant is unfortunately going to cost companies more. You know, organic content is still great. If you can come up with really engaging content, it's still going to work hard for your brand. But in order to expose it to more of your own followers and a new audience, unfortunately, it's probably going to cost companies a little bit more money to do so.
And costing more in terms of experts, brain power, people manning the platforms, people community managing.
Exactly. And more tools to see if tweets produce sales. I know that that's the big question. How do I know, like, I'm investing all of this time and money and resources in social media. How do I know that it's actually impacting sales at all? Yeah, I posted a really funny video, but did anyone actually go buy my product from the store? There's things you can monitor now to actually see, like, purchase intent from a consumer, but right now there's not a ton of products that exist to really see a direct relation between what you're posting on social media and sales. That's probably going to change. And just a couple last trends, customer service. So social media and phones will work more in tandem. You can actually tweet at a brand now, and sometimes you will get back a tweet to call link, where you actually will get a phone number that a consumer can call and actually talk to a human being, versus sitting on a line with a 1-800 number and not talking to anyone, or talking to someone that doesn't really know what your issue is. So we'll see more of that arise, and the impact of social on business will be easy to show and impossible to ignore. I think we're pretty much under the general consensus that social media is not going anywhere, so we have to embrace it, we have to follow it, see what changes. There's changes every day. It feels like we finally master one platform, and then there's going to be a new one that's going to emerge. So it's enough to make your head spin, but it's exciting at the same time. It's a lot of opportunity for everyone here in this room and for your own brand, your company, your organization.